Our conveyor system, which was recently installed within the past month and a half. Some of the changes with our new conveyor system as opposed to the old one is now we have a mezzanine, which allows us to have 2 picking levels of full cases. Our bottle line has been extended to where we are now allowed to incorporate our slow bottles into the picking portion. And we still have our merge, which sequences everything. And we have our vision box, which takes pictures of all of the cases and confirms them out. We still have our no read line, and we have our divert lanes where our pallet building takes place. So the different positions that take place on the wine and spirits operation for the evening, we have our bottle pickers, we have conveyable pickers, we have oddball pickers, we have a sorter operator, we have conveyable loaders, we have a wine and spirits replenisher, and we have a bottle line QC. So our bottle line, that's where all of our bottle pickers work at. So we have certain orders that are picked as individual bottles. So what our bottle line does is they take these orders, which come in what we consider a repack box, and there's a label, 2 labels placed on them. On those labels, it's going to have a bin location and a quantity. So the bottle pickers are responsible for looking at the label, making sure that they go to the proper bin location. Then they have to check the product to make sure that they're picking the correct product. They're looking not only for flavor and brand, they're looking for size. Once they verify that the flavor, brand, and size are correct, then they they grab the correct quantity of bottles, they place it in the appropriate box, then they send it to the next location. The performance indicator for our bottle line is 300 bottles per hour per person. We also, within that bottle line, we have what's considered our slow bottles, which are picked along the same line, which has a slightly lower KPI. Those are the bottles that are not sold as frequently as our fast bottle movers. However, those incorporate our fine wines, which is located in a different section of our warehouse where we have an individual that receives a sheet and they go pick all of these bottles. And then the conveyor line goes around to what we consider our FF section based off of our bin locations. And those are the slower moving bottles as well. Those get picked from that location as well. So as the fast bottle pickers are picking the orders for their respective boxes, we have the labels that have a different color on it, which will be a black background with white lettering as opposed to the white background with black lettering that will designate a slow bottle that needs to be placed in that box. So as those boxes come along, we have what's considered our bottle line QC, whose primary job is to check and verify the accuracy of all bottles for every order that we have. They will take all of our slow bottles, they'll verify the fast bottles, and then they will merge our slow bottles in with the correct order for the fast bottles. And then once that entire box is completed, they'll check everything off, verify the accuracy. They'll once again look to make sure it's the proper quantity, the proper size, the proper flavor, the proper brand, and then they'll send the box up the conveyor so that way it can go to the merge. So another position that we have on our wine and spirits operation for the evening is our conveyable pickers. Our conveyable pickers work on our mezzanine. So our mezzanine consists of 2 separate levels. We have our top level, which we consider Mez 2, which are our faster moving products. Every product up there is placed in an entire pallet location. Then we also have our lower level, which is considered Mezzanine 1. Our Mezzanine 1 has more product on it, and we have some pallet locations, but those are the rest of the products are primarily going to be in what we consider gravity feeds. Another function of our conveyable pickers on Mezzanine 1 is they will be merging our oddball cases, and we'll get into the oddball a little bit later on. So for our conveyable pickers, the first thing that they do is they have to go to the table and they have to sign out their respective labels. So there's going to be a stack of labels based off of the phase of the night that they're on. And on their sheet, they have to sign out the route that they're taking. They have to sign out the time that they're taking the labels so that way we can track the production piece. And then once they get to their work area, they're going to work together as teams, and they're going to have to place every case based off of the label on the line in the correct wave sequence. So what the wave sequence does is it places things in reverse stop order. As they're going through and they're picking, they have a pick rate of 162 cases per hour per person. Some of the key things that they're responsible for each label that they have, the first thing is they have to coordinate the wave. They have to make sure that they are each working on the same wave and that they're placing the wave in the correct numerical order. They check their label. They go to the proper bin location. Once they're at the bin location, they also have to verify their product as well, similar to the bottle line or any picking position that we have. So within their product or on their label, they have to verify that they have the proper brand name, the proper flavor, and the proper size of the product. Because once all three lines make it to the merge, our merge is going to check and scan based off of the wave number, and that's how it's going to release. It's going to release the cases down to our conveyable loaders for the pallet building. The oddball pickers, I've referenced our oddball cases. So we have oddball pickers who operate what we consider order selectors or cherry pickers by some people. What our oddball cases are, those are cases that are not located directly on our mezzanine. So they're not on mezzanine 1, they're not on mezzanine 2. These are cases that don't move in a fast enough volume to be placed on what we would consider the mezzanine or our fast case pick area. So we have oddball pickers going around on order selectors, and they will pick these cases from the high locations, low locations, in different spots all throughout the warehouse. As they're going through, they follow the same process in the beginning as our conveyable pickers do. They report to the table. They have to sign out whichever route that they're going to be picking at the time, and everything will be separated for them. They sign the route out. They're also going to put the time in which they've received their stack of labels, so that way we can keep track of their production as well. As they go through, each label that they have is already placed in the proper sequence. It's placed in a proper wave sequence. So as they go through and they're picking their orders, what they're doing is they're placing the label on the product itself as they're at the bin location, and then they're placing the product on the pallet. What this has allowed us to do is significantly reduce our mispicks. So our oddball pickers are required to pick at roughly 115 cases per hour per person. The reason why that's not a hard number is because they have to travel throughout the warehouse, and with our new conveyor system, there's different access points now. So our sorter operator is our final check and balance on our product as each pallet is getting built. So we have 3 lines that we spoke about. The first one being our bottle line, and the next 2 lines would be mezzanine 1 and mezzanine 2. So as those 3 lines have their product picked, they all meet at what we call our merge. So what the merge does is it places everything in the proper sequence based off of their waves. As the cases are placed in the proper wave sequence, it goes through our conveyor. It goes through what's considered our vision box, which is where it receives it gets its picture taken and it's actually confirmed out. So as it goes through the vision box, anything that the system does not recognize, whether it be for a failed UPC, it doesn't recognize the product itself, or if somehow the label was wrong, whether it be placed on the wrong product or it couldn't read the barcode, it gets kicked out to what's considered our no read line. So on our no read line, that's where our sorter operator, first and foremost, they're monitoring on the iPad to see exactly which product's coming down, the sequence is supposed to come down. As cases get kicked over to the no read line, they have to check the label and verify whether or not it's the correct product. And then they have to scan the product and place a reason code on why the case diverted to our no read line. Some of the reason codes could be right label, right case. It could be that it was a bad label. It could be that that 2 cases came side by side, or it could just be a simple mispick. Another function of our sorter operator is they are the ones that control the pacing of our conveyor. So they're responsible for making sure that the merge continuously runs. They're responsible for maintaining the pace of our conveyable pickers. And those are some of the primary duties of our sorter operator. The last position that I want to talk about are our conveyable loaders. So our conveyable loaders, they are the ones that are actually building the pallets. So the conveyable loaders are expected to move at a KPI of 215 cases per hour per person. What they're responsible for is as the cases come down to our divert lane to where our pallet building location is, they are actually building the pallet. They have to build the pallet in what we consider reverse stop order, meaning the last stop is the first case that goes on the pallet and the first stop are the last cases that go on the pallet. So that way, as the drivers are working their pallet, they can work the pallets from top to bottom without having to dig through anything. Some of the responsibilities of the conveyable loader, they have to make sure that the cases are placed on the pallet upright. They have to make sure that they're building stable pallets, locking the product in as much as possible. They have to wrap and secure the pallet as much as possible as well, making sure that those cases are in the proper wave sequence, the proper stop sequence, that it's the correct route. After they finish building the pallet, they wrap the pallet and then they have to mark it on all four sides with the designated route. Once that is completed, one of the conveyable loaders will then get on a forklift, move the pallet, place it in the staging area as the remaining conveyable loaders continue to build their pallets. One of the other functions that they're doing is we have our bottle line, our mezzanine 1 and mezzanine 2 cases coming down at the same time. So we have one conveyable loader as they're building their whole case pallets that's separating the bottle line split cases from the whole cases as well. All right. So I thank you all for your time. And hopefully this explains the operation to you.